the rules in a UFC MMA fight do not allow for such running away. And we know that Ronda can take a punch. Ronda can take a punch. Ronda can take an elbow. Ronda can take a knee to the face. Ronda can take a roundhouse kick. Floyd can't. He can't do any of that. All Floyd can do is box. Okay? Boxing is just one small optional element of MMA. All right, and I could rant about this for weeks, on and on. But I'm gonna have to wrap this up again. The show's gonna be shorter this week, so we got to close this out and move on to other topics. But I would really, really like to know what you think, especially if you are of the opposite school of thought and genuinely believe that Floyd Mayweather would defeat Ronda Rousey in a fight in a UFC octagon under UFC MMA rules. Because I haven't heard one legitimate argument that's sensible for said opinion, even though I've seen thousands to millions of people who have that opinion. So, my theory on those people who have arrived at that opinion is this: they must be one of one of four types of human beings, okay? You either need to be a Ronda Rousey hater, okay? Because there are a lot of Ronda Rousey haters. A lot of people hate Ronda Rousey. I freaking love her. I think she's amazing as a fighter and as a human being. But so you'd have to just flat out, I hate Ronda. I don't like her. I always root for her to lose, and, okay. Or you need to be a Floyd lover, would be the other thing. No, Floyd's my guy. He's the best boxer ever, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So two types of people there that could take that side. The third type of person, and I saw quite a bit of this out there, would be a sexist. Someone who simply cannot comprehend the idea that a woman could physically prove herself superior in fighting to a man at all. I read so many people that said Ronda Rousey couldn't beat one guy in her own weight class in the UFC in an MMA fight. I've read all kinds of guys saying that they would beat Ronda Rousey in a no-rules fight and things like that. I mean, so yeah, the third kind would be you'd have to be a sexist who just believes that men are, superior no matter what to females. Or D, and fourth and final, you are just a complete idiot with an IQ of, I don't know, like somewhere around 16 and a half. Okay? So that's... So what I'm asking, okay? If there is someone who really genuinely believes, no, in an octagon, Floyd would find a way to keep the fight standing the entire time and would actually be aggressive and land punches on Ronda, and she wouldn't be able to handle it. Present me the argument, okay? Because I want to see one person picking Floyd that is actually sensible and plausible. It's like, wow, that your reason for your take, for your stance, for your opinion, it's good, it's smart, it makes sense. I'm not going to adopt it as my own, or maybe I will incorporate it into my take as well. But until one person can be on the Floyd side in this argument and actually make any kind of decent, sensible, logical argument for their side, I am just going to assume, and be right, by the way, in this assumption, but I will just assume then that everyone in the world who picks the side of Floyd in this hypothetical debate is a grade A moron, idiot, or sexist. All right, boom. Putting balls on fire out, man. I hope I'm not too overly heated up and on fire for you this week. Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to Balls Deep Sports Talk with me, your host, Scotty Ball, here on WNLMradio.com or possibly YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn app, and the Spreaker app. All right, let's get into some meat. And, like I said, we're going to be running a 60 to 90 minute show here this week, as again I am insanely busy every day here throughout this week, but next week should quiet down and get back to normal pretty nice after Monday, that is, because on Monday this coming week, myself and the WWE guru extraordinaire Doug Sanders will be at Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota to watch Monday Night Raw. And it just so happens that at this Monday Night Raw, our hometown boy, the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, will be in attendance. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that this is the first WWE event in his home state that Brock Lesnar has ever wrestled at. I could be wrong. It might have happened once way back in 2002 or whenever his first small stint was for that 1 to 2 years where he came in and just dominated and then left. So everybody here that I know that's a wrestling fan is insanely stoked to finally get to see and cheer our hometown beast, Brock Lesnar, this coming Monday at the Target Center on Monday Night Raw. Now, it was announced this last week on Monday Night Raw that the one and only dead man, the Phenom, the one and only Undertaker, who Brock is fighting at SummerSlam, will also be at Target Center for Monday Night Raw this coming week. So, if you are any kind of wrestling fan remotely close to the Minnesota, Minneapolis area, there are still tickets available. You need to go buy them and be there next Monday to see both Undertaker and Brock Lesnar in the Target Center at the same time. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. But anyway, so that was a little WWE plug. We will get to just a little more pro wrestling talk a little later in the show. But now, for the meat of this week's episode, we will be discussing some baseball and some football. Some good old-fashioned, and maybe a little bit of golf, too. I don't know. We might have to turn golf into a quickie. But we'll definitely throw a bunch of football here into the meat, some baseball, and maybe some golf. And then we'll squeeze out some balls juice and finish up with our balls deep thought of the day, as always. All right, so first here, let's we got to do football. I mean, it's football season. I love football. Everybody here in America loves football. You got to love football. How can you not love football? So we'll start this meat segment with some football. Whoa, actually, hold on, time out. Wait a second. Now that I think about it just a little bit more, let's actually save football for the last part of this meat segment, because that will segue perfectly and beautifully then into our balls juice segment. So let's start the meat out with a little bit of golf. One of my absolute favorite sports. Other than football, it is my favorite sport. And then we will go into a little bit of baseball, and then we'll close the meat out with football. Jumping around then, to golf. Here, starting out the meat. The PGA Championship started today. This is the fourth and final major of the 2015 PGA golf season. And being that, it means that most people kind of check out of the pro golf season after this week's tournament, as the casual golf fan and even way too many of my fellow hardcore golf fans just care about the majors and don't care about anything else that goes on in the world of golf other than those 4 tournaments every year. And that, to me, is very frustrating, stupid. I don't like it one bit. But that's a different rant for a different day. Alright, now I will not go into too lengthy of a preview again on this fourth and final major of the season. A little catch-up for you, to go with some mustard. No. But earlier, when I was looking today, we had Dustin Johnson in first place, followed by a bunch of people 1 to 2 strokes behind. Now, Dustin Johnson, Jason Day, these are names that are already on top of the leaderboard, and names that you should have been looking out for anyway. These guys are young studs, playing great. They've been in contention at some point in every major tournament this year. Dustin Johnson and Jason Day both just failing to close out on those opportunities. but they are both on that cusp of winning their first major and making that turn as not one of the best up-and-coming golfers, but one of the best golfers right now, period. So look for those two guys to do well, but don't necessarily look for one of them to win. However, I am very much hoping that if Jordan Spieth does not win his third out of the 4 majors in this calendar year this week, that the winner would then be either Jason Day or Dustin Johnson to kind of help establish some more of these great young golfers and competition for the Rory McIlroys and Jordan Spieths of the world right now. And in case you're looking for some slightly lesser-known sleepers, to keep an eye out on, Matt Kuchar is quite a stud and having a great year and does well in all these tournaments, as well as J.B. Holmes and Harry English, who was actually having a great season, wasn't able to participate in the Masters early on this year due to injury. He is back playing and is close to the top of the leaderboard as well. At least he was when I checked. That's another name that, like I said, if you look at the numbers this year, he is a phenomenal golfer poised to possibly win that first major as well. Now, if you're still one of those people living in 2001 and you care about Tiger Woods and are interested in what he is doing, when I last saw, he was currently 2 over par with the leader at 6 under par. So holding true to the season he's been having this year and the past several years, making the cut after tomorrow would be a huge victory for Tiger Woods. Don't look for anything above, a 30th. Finishing 30th on the leaderboard would probably be the best that Tiger could realistically even conceive of hoping for in this tournament. Oh, and let's give you a couple other names here to keep an eye on real quick. Justin Rose, Martin Kamer, Russell Henley, some other names, lesser-known names to keep an eye on throughout the tournament as well. And an FYI, this year's PGA Championship is being held in Kohler, Wisconsin, which is not too terribly far away from me. So that'd be, hey, if you got some money and some time this weekend and you're a golf fan, maybe look to see if you can find some tickets and go check out the PGA Championship here in Wisconsin this weekend. And also a big group, really exciting, interesting group for today. We will have the threesome of Rory McIlroy, the number 1 ranked golfer in the world, and then the other 2 golfers who have won this year's 3 majors. Jordan Spieth, who won the Masters and the U.S. Open, and then Zach Johnson, who won the British Open. So that's your group to really keep an eye on today and tomorrow. And we'll close this out by adding a few names to our Tiger Woods list, which our Tiger Woods list is your list of the bigger name, more well-known golfers that you should not expect to win or do very good in this tournament. Again, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Sergio Garcia, Rory McIlroy. Do not expect any of these people to win the tournament. Rory would be probably the only one that would really have any realistic shot. And with his coming off of his ankle injury and how little he has actually played and won this year, it's not sensible to expect him to do that. Is it sensible to think that he could? Absolutely. He has the talent, no question about that. But based off of a recent history and events, there's no reason to expect it to unfold that way. But so let's have that officially wrap up our PGA Championship preview. Again, I got to keep the show shorter this week. Sorry I can't ramble on and on for longer like I usually do. I know you guys love that so much. So, alright, so let's go into our next meaty topic here, which would be Major League Baseball. Let's start with the Toronto Blue Jays, who the last I checked last night had won 10 consecutive games and are now not only in the playoff race as a wild card contender, but they have actually passed the New York Yankees for first place in their division. This could not make me happy.